Have you ever wondered what people at different stages of the game actually do to make money? Well, I thought it would be pretty interesting to find out. Today we're going to talk to a variation of different Skyblock players who are at different stages in the game, all the way from early through to end. Now what I will say is I think it's pretty difficult to put people into different categories, i.e. early, mid, late and end game. While it's pretty easy to look at someone who's just started the game and say yeah sure they're early game, and the same reversed if someone is relatively clearly end game, everything else in between is somewhat up for debate and subjective. You know, what really is the definitive difference between someone who is at the high end of mid game as opposed to somebody who is at the very low end of late game? But this video aims to try to hit basically people at every stage of the game, basically to see what those guys do for money. We're going to be finding out what the net worth is, rebuild by the way, what the skill average is, how they made most of the money on the profile, and what their go-to money making method is right now. Even though we are trying to hit players at every stage of the game, I do find it difficult to categorize people, and I feel like a lot of it is down to subjectivity and what you think is, you know, worthy of being mid or late game. So this video's not going to be in categories, I'm just going to put it in somewhat what I think is chronological order, starting with early game and ending with end game. So let's get to it. Okay, Oven, we can see level 57, but what is your net worth and your skill average?
My net worth is around 220 mil, and my skill average should be around 22.
Okay, and what has made pretty much all of the money on your profile so far?
I'd say probably the forge from the Dwarven mine.
The forge?
Yeah.
Bro's pro flipper. So how about now? What is your main money making method now?
Oh, now I'm pretty much at the point where I can just do event fishing, and that'll make me good money for early game. And when I get to mid game, I can just start lava fishing efficiently and do end game fishing from there.
And is there anything that you categorically won't do and will avoid at all costs on this profile?
After hype, I'm not touching dungeons.
Now, just before we go any further, at the moment we're actually trying to beat the population of Andorra with subscribers. The population of Andorra is around about 80,000 people, and once we reach 80,000 subscribers, we'll be visiting Andorra and we'll be able to claim that we have more subscribers than the population of the whole country, which would be pretty cool, so make sure to subscribe to make that happen. Also, if you are planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS, it gets yourself 5% off. You should join the Discord server, it's linked in the description of this video. We offer slayers and dungeon carries, so if you need carries, I want to carry, make some coins, make sure to join. So, how much net worth does a level 177 have, and what is your skill average?
I'm like close to 2 bill, so on 2 bill on a good day, and my skill average is 33.1.
And like, how have you made most of the money on your profile?
So I started with Vampire Slayer. I started Rift early, like all poor people do, and I've made a pretty decent amount of money, and I also got RNG carried in dungeons, which is like kind of like what all poor people do as well.
Bro, I feel like the gambling should be included in, you know, a question if I was to ask, you know, money losing. But anyway, you know, moving on, you know, if you, let's see, what's your current money making method? If you wanted to make like a quick, I don't know, 50, 20 mil, what would you do? What would be your go-to?
I would low-key do dungeons because, yeah, dungeons, it's like the only thing I can really afford right now. And it's also like you can get started on it early and it's decent.
Yeah. And is there like maybe something that you would avoid doing at all costs in Skyblock? Like throughout the time you've played it, like what is your least favorite thing to do that you really don't want to do at any point, other than foraging, because nobody likes foraging?
I don't really want to farm or mine because I don't want to like have my mind go numb when I'm doing anything, and like it just sounds pretty mindless.
Yeah. So you're level 306. What is your net worth and what is your skill average?
All right, so my net worth is, when I look at the bot, it says around 10 billion, 9.996 to be exact, and I'm sitting at a 45.3 skill average right now.
And how have you made most of the money on your profile?
So it's been like a roundabout of like mostly everything. Like I've stuck to mainly combat related things. I don't really like doing farming or mining because I feel like that's just mind numbing. So I've mainly like stuck to like doing carries for like Void Glooms or Floor 7 and just doing like regular runs on dungeons as well. I think like sticking to mainly like dungeons and voids and slayers, I've dropped I think 5 cores within 500k XP. And like within doing floor 7 off of carries alone, I think I made 2 bill, and I dropped like 2 handles and a couple scrolls in like 300 runs. So that's mainly been it. I'm all over the place though. I did mess around with like attribute upgrading, like off of glowstone gauntlets. That made me a couple 100 mil, but it's just mainly been slayers and dungeons.
And what is your money making method now? If you needed to make a quick, I don't know, 100, 200 mil, what would you do right now if you needed money quick?
Well, I've recently found out about another method of like with attribute combining, so I'd probably mess around with that for like a solid 2 hours. If not, I'd stick to like mining, and if anything, I'd go to farming. But realistically, right now, without doing anything RNG based, I'd probably just do like mining or farming.
And if there's anything that you will avoid at all costs other than foraging, what do you think it would have been throughout your time playing Skyblock?
Honestly, this really contradicts what I said, but I hit farming 40 and I like immediately dropped it within like the span. If I check right now, I think I'm farming 44, so I've done a little bit here and there, but I've really avoided that, as well as fishing. I cannot bring myself to fish for the life of me. Fishing is so boring. I'm fishing not 50. I'm fishing 33, which is so low compared to everyone else. And like when I talk to my friends, they're all like, "Oh yeah, I'm fishing 40. I have like almost max gear. What are you?" And then I just sit there and say 33, and I'm like, I just can't fish. I just can't bring myself to do it.
So you're level 368, but what is your net worth and what is your skill average?
I am net worth 16.5 billion with a 52 skill average.
And how have you made majority of the money on your profile?
The biggest influx of money for me came from last December. It was flipping cookies. My current money-making method tends to be slayers, though.
And if there's one thing that you've avoided doing, like you just really hate doing, you'd avoid it at any cost, other than foraging, what would you say it is?
Probably 3 answers. Mining, losing 1.2 billion coins to an emerald blade, and buying a Devon's drill just to soulbind it.
Oh my god, young man.
I mean, at least you're mining 60, even though you say you don't like doing it. I mean,
yeah, but mining's okay,
that,
but getting
you know?
bottom 10 and mining 60 is a joke.
Yeah, it is easier, it is. Okay, so what net worth and skill average would a level 353 Ironman have?
I'm currently just shy of 27 billion coins net worth with a skill average of 52.4.
Okay, so how have you made most of the money on your profile?
Most of the money, I'd say, has been made by either grinding gemstones or dropping rare drops. Kind of like my locket, my 2 Devon's alloys, and all my scrolls, my handles, and pets, and whatever.
And what would you say, like, your main go-to money-making method is right now? If you wanted to make a quick 100 mil, what would you do?
I'd mine.
Okay, that's
my
fine.
mining setup's too good to even consider farming.
Yeah. If there's one thing in the game that you'd say that you've avoided doing at all costs, other than foraging, because foraging's the obvious one, what would you say it would be?
The Rift.
Okay.
I don't like the Rift. I can understand why people like it, but it's just not my cup of tea.
So, Cut, we can see you level 392, but what is your net worth and what is your skill average?
My net worth is around 24 billion and my skill average is 53.
How did you make most of the money on your profile?
I'm gonna be honest, most of it I feel like is RNG from either Slayers or Dungeons or stuff like that. I didn't really do anything specific for money. Mostly RNG.
What would you say is like your main money-making method at the moment?
Mostly Dungeons. It's not really for the money, but more for the catacombs. But yeah, I just make money while doing the dungeon.
So,
I took a step back.
you took a step back from Sven, yeah? No, not
Yeah,
avoiding it. Okay. Alright then, cool. So Crazy, we can see you level 401, but what is your net worth and what is your skill average?
Oh, my net worth is about 27 billion coins and my skill average is 51.7.
Okay, how have you made most of the money on your profile in terms of like your whole net worth?
Most of my money comes from doing tier 5 revs, data mining, and as of recently fishing. Kind of got into that a lot.
And yeah, so if you wanted to, like, what is your current money making method? I assume fishing, like you just said, but are you doing anything else at the moment, or?
Well, been cycling. I did some, like for example, today I did some revs. But I cycle between revs, skate, and fishing. Those are like my big three, I guess you could say.
Yeah, is there anything that you avoid doing at all costs, except foraging, throughout your time playing Skyblock? Anything you really don't like doing?
Well, not necessarily something that I completely avoid, but I have recently started to avoid is dungeons. I tried doing dungeons at the start of my profile, and since then I've started and quit like 8 times or something. I don't know. I can't do dungeons. Farming, I like don't do either, but I plan to do it soon. So I think it's just mainly dungeons.
I mean, Alpha 46 it's not terrible at all by any means. I mean, it's still not bad. Right, so you're level 402, but what is your net worth and what is your skill average?
My net worth is currently about 30, but it fluctuates, and my skill average is around 50.
And how did you make most of the money on your profile?
Most of it was basically with Eman. I dropped around 44 cores, which carried me, and then also dungeons, which gave me a lot of opportunities, and now I'm just fishing, making my money with fishing pretty much.
Okay, so how come you've not done carpentry and alchemy?
I just don't like spending the money on it. Like, alchemy of course is useful for god pots, but I can't really be asked to spend that money on it, and I don't also want to waste the time, honestly. The time waste on that is... I tried it so often, just like trophy fishing. I also avoid that, even though I love just normal fishing. But I just can't bring myself to it. Always when I started, it's just... I give up after like 2 hours.
Okay, Matthias, we can see you level 414, but what is your net worth and skill average?
My net worth is 34 bill, and I have a skill average of 51.2.
And how did you make most of the money on your profile?
Well, I've played almost since the game came out. My profile is 5 years and 9 months old. So I used to play a lot back in the old days. And I've had like with this game where I quit for a period and then come back like multiple times. So what I did was I invested a lot of money into skins when I knew I was gonna have a big break because of school. And then a lot of those skins became really expensive, like these Sentinel Warden helmet skins. I had a few of those, and many other skins. So that's like what I made most money on. But as of like a passive income lately, it's probably just slayers and fishing.
Okay, so level 414 and farming 48. Why have you avoided farming so much? Why do you not like it? Let's hear it.
I think for me, just sitting and pressing 2 buttons down at the same time or 3, it seems so dead to me. I think there's a lot more fun to do in the game. I know I need to do it eventually to get my level up, but I think I've just avoided it because I think it's too boring. I think the dopamine just don't hit for me in Skyblock when it comes to farming.
Okay, Yig, your Skyblock level 451. But what's your net worth and what is the skill average looking like?
Alright, so my net worth is quite volatile, but I'm currently sitting at a nice 101 bill, and that's about top 600 on the leaderboard. So yeah, pretty solid. And skill average is looking a little sad, 53.9. I'm pretty sure it's lower than yours.
How did you make most of the money on your profile?
Alright, so I'm one to hyperfixate, and I'm a big combat guy, so I decided, I should main a Slayer. And I didn't want to do anything streamlined or basic, so I started hitting zombies, and I hit a couple too many, and I may or may not be number 2 on Rev leaderboard. Not going off of current prices, but just my complete estimate on where I was, because I did most of my revs when hearts were around 160 mil per, would be about 50 to 55 bill in profit purely, even with spending around 16, 17 bill on boss spawns. I had previously gambled my net worth away beforehand, and when I came back to the game, I did revs from around 3 bill net worth to 73 bill.
What are you doing? What is your main money making method at the moment?
Well, lately I've just been, I hit 200k bosses exactly, and I took a solid 4 or 5 month break from revs, and since then I've been going for level. I really wanted that red color, as you do.
Yep.
And since then I've just been doing a lot of mining and fishing. I'm getting into hotspot fishing. I'm making a decent amount of money from that. I recently hit 1.1 bill mining XP, and I'm a gambler. I finally broke even on Vanguard's 474.
And the final question is, I'd probably say the only thing that lets your profile down is the foraging. Why are we not foraging? Such a unanswerable question. I wonder why.
Well, I've been debating for a very, very long time on how I was going to hit foraging 50, what I was going to do for it, if I wanted to do it with a milestone, if I wanted to spoil myself and just do Jerry boxes and lose a couple bill, or island foraging, or the AFK one. But I tried island foraging, and I may or may not have gotten motion sick from it, so I think we're leaning towards the boxes for that one.
But anyway, I hope that gives you some insight as to how players at different stages in the game make the money. I think it was pretty interesting. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.